Hello and welcome to Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. I am Justin Davis, and as always, I'm joined by the man who counted Ric Flair's last match, Mr. Pondwater Dave Miller. And as usual, Dave, we've got a guest with us here this week. Who we got?
Well, we got a really special guest tonight that goes back to pretty much to my beginning in wrestling as well. We've been friends for over 15 years. He's a wrestler. He's a promoter.
And that says barely any of those things.
A very successful promotion.
Well, thank you.
You've seen him on Impact. You've seen him all over the state of Texas, all over the Southwest. I've seen him in Mississippi, and we're proud to have him here tonight. My good friend, the Monster Hunter, Matthew Palmer.
Hey, folks, how you doing? Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
I can't thank you enough for coming on.
I don't think successful wrestler and promoter is quite accurate. I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to pay off my tuition that I owe Hoyt from 17 years ago.
Got you. Well, at least he's not,
He's not going after me. No,
he hadn't come to collect it.
He just whips my ass every time we wrestle. But how you guys doing? I'm glad you guys have me on here.
You're the Monster Hunter, and he's the Murder Hawk Monster. So how's that working?
He wins. Pretty easy. It's pretty. He's 6'7", like 260, and I'm not 6'7", 260. So no, man. Hoyt, Lance Archer, whatever. One of the coolest guys ever. Guy that trained me. Love that guy. Love that guy. Sweetheart of a guy. Anyway, enough about him. More about me. No.
Yes, there we go.
What are we talking about today, boys?
Well, before we get started with interviewing, we like to do a little thing called Palm Water's Predicament.
Okay.
And this week, my predicament, I was a referee this last weekend in West Monroe, Louisiana. Again, a match between Bam Bam Malone and Frankie Thomas. Okay. And the only way that they could win the match was to use their finisher.
Okay.
And since nobody could lose without being defeated with a finisher, it kind of was a no disqualification match.
Right.
Well, there was never really established this was no disqualification, but we just kind of realized, like, when they started cheating, Frankie started cheating. And by the way, his wife Brittany was barred from the arena because she always interferes.
Gotcha.
So she was barred from the arena. And I was trying to enforce the rules, and it was kind of pointed out to me there was still nothing I could do about it because there was no disqualifications. And at one point, Frankie likes to choke a lot. So let's look at this clip.
Okay. Yeah, the old attempted murder spot. I like it.
Oh, come on.
Man, he's really killing that guy. You guys are just standing there.
Yeah, Dave's just letting it happen like usual.
Just letting it happen. He's like, I'm not even going to count to 5. I'm going to wait till he turns purple.
Let's see this.
Pondwater's current predicament is there we go.
We had a technical difficulty. I didn't get this one.
There he comes with the count.
You hit him in the eye?
I'm explaining to him. Come on, just stay off the street. I know this isn't doing any good, and I'm trying to reason with him.
No! That dastardly son of a gun.
So,
Are they saying you can't do that? Obviously he can.
Man, Pondwater sold that better than he did the bullet in the parking lot and down there in Dallas.
he hit me in the eye.
Probably a receipt for you throwing that 1 count right in his face right there. Did you see that?
Yeah,
he
he told me that I should not have put my hands on him. He told me, he said I should, because I can hear him. I'm not out. I'm just, I can't see. And he's telling me I shouldn't have put my hands on him. And so then I've missed what's fixing to happen is that Bam's going to use his Claymore, and I'm not going to see it. And Frankie's gone. Frankie gets out of the ring, and Bam goes to looking for him. Well, when Bam lifted the ring apron, Frankie's wife was under the ring and started spraying him in the eyes with hairspray.
Oh, hell.
And she followed him all the way around the ring and unloaded the whole can on him. That's what I'm told.
Yeah.
And they like to say they're from Alabama. This is in Louisiana, LSU country. And I hear her yell, "Roll Tide," and I'm like, wait, I know that she's here and she's not supposed to be here. So I kind of snap out of it and go to her and start throwing her out because she's barred. This is not going to happen. She makes my life a living hell every time I referee for a Frankie match, because she's just relentless.
Right.
I mean,
hit her.
So then, so I'm throwing her out, and I see that Frankie's got a trash can. And I'm not having it. We're not using this trash can. My wife's here. She's not supposed to be here. I've had enough.
Hit him with the can.
I'm not using this trash can.
Wait, why are you not letting him use the trash can?
Well, his wife has already sprayed Bam in the eyes, and she wasn't supposed to be here.
Yeah, but his wife isn't the trash can. You guys are helping this guy out. Alright, cheating on that guy.
Yeah.
Man, I think Bam Bam got away with that one. That dude had two people in the corner washing his eyes out, rubbing his shoulders, and the other dude just trying to have a match. I don't know. I can see your predicament there, Dave. I think you made the wrong call on that one.
I think Dave worked harder than either of the wrestlers in that match.
Probably.
Dave was getting out.
I'd already been hit in the eyes.
Right.
I was not getting hit with the trash can. So
Well, just duck.
So I guess my predicament is whenever it's a no disqualification match, I just guess I'll stand in the corner and wait.
Yeah, just take like a shot, like in the corner, and be like, "All right, have at it, boys."
But I guess in the future, I will not make the mistake of putting my hands on putting my hands on Frankie again.
I was in a triple threat match years ago. We had to do a radio interview, and it was me, Frankie Fisher, and JD Griffey. And we were all in there doing a radio interview, and it's all spontaneous, nothing scripted out. And the interviewer's like, "Matt, what are you going to do to win this match?" And I looked at both guys, and we had a few MMA fighters waiting to get on the air too, and they were just murderers. They all look like hard ass dudes. And so I just look at all of them and go, "I'm going to kick you all in the dick. I'm going to start this match out by straight up nut shots galore." And they just looked at me. It's like, "You can't do that." It's like, "Who's going to win if I do?" And there's like, what? And that was all spontaneous, right? It's all dumb because I was just making fun of the triple threat rules. We start the show. About 3 days later, nut shots. Nothing but nut shots galore. All of them. And so the referee's like, "You can't. No more." Anthony Martuccio. You remember him. He's like, "No more." And so I was like, "Oh, all right." So I rear back. I go to kick him. He blocks it and kicks me right in the crotch. And we're all just lying there doing the Peter Griffin cell. He's like, "Oh." And that's how we got out of that one. So, yeah. I understand your predicament, dude. Those no DQ matches where they're not advertised as no DQ, they're difficult. They're difficult. People's wives coming in the ring, it's ridiculous.
Well, they got us because, for her to be under the ring, and they weren't the first match of the night, so they had a plan.
She had like a pillow and blanket, some Dorito Cool Ranch in the corner, just chilling out.
Yeah, earplugs.
Touching up her makeup as each match going on. I was like, this must be the second one.
praying that Angel Camacho wasn't going to be in the ring.
I love me some Angel Camacho, but it is scary if that dude's above you.
Oh, man. Oh, he did flying body press off the ropes.
Angel?
Yes.
And how long was the victim in the hospital for? Because that would break every rib in my body.
So
APOC? Yeah, he's getting up there a size 2. Take that, Dennis.
At one point, they were on the top rope, and they looked like they were going to try to do a superplex. The
Oh,
promoter was about to cry because his darn ring was. They already been his ring once.
It was going to end up being a low boy ring by the end of the night. They're going
yeah.
to lose like 2 feet.
it's a low rider.
Hell yeah. Angel
getting off-
Camacho wrestled a match for me one time when we just got a brand new ring, and it was one of those like quick teardown rings where instead of like the 18-foot sides, there are 2 9-foot sides. And so the ring kept teetering, like it became a little teeter totter. And I was like, I've never experienced the plywood rings like this, and never built them. And so I looked over at him and Sam Stackhouse. Sam Stackhouse, you know Sam?
I do. I've worked with
Huge dudes. And I go,
We
guys,
get him. I can't talk. He's done some stuff with us too.
oh, dude, Sam's great. Sam and Angel are both great. But I had to tell him, I was like, guys, for your own safety, just be careful. And they're like, oh yeah, boss, no problem, no big deal. They go out there. These jerks are hitting their ropes. They're bouncing off. It's like, when do you guys become cruiserweights? What the fuck? Just come on, man.
And if for those of you that don't know, Angel Camacho is a legitimate 460.
Yeah. And Sam's up there too, right? Sam's near
Sam's
4 or up
never
to
been
4.
400.
Dude, yeah. Well, the ring worked. I can tell you that. The ring lasted, but they scared the entire time. I was just puckered in the back, just like, please don't die. Please don't die.
And you
Isn't
were
it funny
talking
how
to
you
the
look
ring,
at it
right?
different when it's your ring?
Ah, screw the ring. You're in wrestling for nearly 20 years. A ring's a ring. This is like the wrestlers. It's like, come on, man, please don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Did you work that show in Garland in Garland with Spoiler and Akbar, and the guy ran out and didn't pay anybody, and he had like a tarp for the ring mat, and literally
Dude, you just
ropes
described 75% of the shows that I've worked my entire life. Like I got a car tarp as a ring covering. The slightest bit of baby oil or sweat gets on there, and I'm just sliding around.
Matt's like, so I was
Oh,
at
the
one
promoter
of my
didn't
fancier
pay?
matches.
Yeah, Akbar said his name was Mark. He called him Mark the Mark.
Mark Vaughn? Was it Mark Vaughn?
No.
Oh, damn. I like Mark Vaughn, but
Yeah, it wasn't that Mark.
Ah, darn it. Mark the Mark. Yeah, dude, like there's been countless promoters that'll just take off at the box, or you know what I mean. It's indie wrestling. It's a bunch of wannabe carnies. No one's truly professional anymore, these jerks. Except for me, I'm great.
He is. It's true.
That's true. I don't pay anybody. Oh, shit.
You started. Did you learn that at PCW?
Hell yeah. Richard Hill showed me.
Yeah, come to think of it, you still have Richard with you, so
Hell yeah. Well, I
The
love
math is
Richard
mathing.
Hill. What's that?
the math is mathing.
Oh yeah. Except for their payout. That ain't mathing. Ain't giving you guys nothing. Not kidding though. I pay the guys. I pay them a little. Nothing a lot.
So you started out at PCW and you were training with Lance, and you were training with Robert Evans.
Yep.
And Wally Dartman.
Yeah, you nailed it. The big 3. I've found ways in every little burst of character development that I do to incorporate a little bit of those 3 guys into my stuff. Like I'll always try to have like an 80s theme for my entrance music for Robert Evans. I do a little bit of his mannerisms, a little ode to it. Hoyt, there's a couple of moves that he's done through the years that he showed me that I've always done. Just because it's him, and there's not much I can do to, honor a 6'7" dude. He throw out some choke slants every now and then.
He works
But
like a
Wally,
cruiserweight, though.
Cruiserweight Hoyt,
He used to.
hell yeah, Cruiserweight Hoyt. That was the Hoyt I got. That was the Hoyt that was like, all right, let's show you how to do some moonsaults, let's do some drop kicks, and I was like, this is awesome. Guy barely had to leave the ground and hit me in the head.
What
I
year
don't know
was
if I
this
ever
that you
told
started
you
your
when
training?
I went to PCW, I had my choice between BJ Turner or Lance Hoyt.
Same. I actually had the same thing. Justin, I started training in like 2000, late 2006, early 2007.
Okay.
I did a lot of stage theater, and that was my crappy job. By crappy, I mean it didn't pay very much. That was my job for a bit, and so I had to break it up in a few different training sessions. Shoot, what were you saying, Dave? I forgot. I'm sorry.
I was just saying we had the choice between
Oh,
Hoyt,
between
BJ.
BJ Turner and Lance Hoyt, and I ran across BJ in a gym, and I said hi because he had been at PCW and stuff, and I was just just a regular fan, and he offered to train me over, I think it was XCW at the time, and I was like, it was either him or Hoyt at PCW, and well, I went with the taller guy, and he proceeded to hip toss me out of the ring that first week. That was hilarious, but yeah. And that's been it. I wonder what life would have been like if I went to BJ Turner, because his chain wrestling was phenomenal.
Well, yeah, I mean, the mat stuff. That's who I started with, and I chose BJ because I'm 5'6", and
Yeah.
I'll never admit to being less than that. And then Lance was huge, so I'm thinking that I could probably learn more from BJ being my size. And really, honestly, with no disrespect to BJ, when BJ left and then Lance took over my training, I learned a lot. I mean, BJ was great teaching me the chain,
Mm-hmm.
the ground attack. Lance taught me what I needed to do in the wrestling business.
Yes.
And I mean, he didn't tell me I couldn't wrestle, but then he kind of encouraged me to be a referee because it was his job. That would have been a good path for me at that time. And at 40 years old, what were the chances that he wasn't saying it couldn't happen?
Right. I mean, anything can happen, but most likely the 5'6", 40-year-old solid ref job. And as I'm nearing 40 and I'm barely 5'7", I'm looking at it, it's like, you know what? I think I can count to 3. I think I'm getting up there.
Are you saying that Dave didn't give you DDP vibes?
He had to start off as a manager first, then I would have been all about it. But
oh, he did. He had some managing under his
yeah,
belt.
I know, because I was around when. Did you do the? Do you remember Mike Page and Joey Corman's tag gimmick, the Medics?
Yeah, I was their manager.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
was Dr.
what I was.
Good.
Yeah, that's when I first got into my tag work with Evans. It was my first kind of year on the road, and I saw you guys like every other weekend. I think we were wrestling you guys, and it was just constantly go, "What's up, Dave? You reffing the night?" It's like, "No, I'm managing." It's like, "Hell yeah, dude! What are we doing?" It's just like, "I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and I'm gonna choke you." Just okay.
The night we came out, y'all were wrestling Genesis, and we ran in and attacked Genesis, and I still pop every time I watch the video because you are dragging Evans by his ankles to the back. I'm cutting a promo, and you see Palmer come by pulling Evans by his ankles, dragging him to the back.
Oh. That was half the fun of working with Evans, is that little live theater atmosphere that we got to work with, because everyone's trying, you're supposed to work for the TV and the camera and all that kind of stuff, but it was all that little stuff like that we got to do in the background of somebody's promo, or in the background of them cutting a promo to the live audience, would just be like me getting dragged out or Evans getting dragged out. I think one time I got dragged out with my ass showing. And nobody even tried to help me. They just kind of dragged me by the arms, my butt hanging out. It's just it was great. Good times.
Well, your gimmick was centerfold, so.
Yeah, that's right. The male model. The Zoolander.
So tell our listeners, just in case anybody's not picking up on who we're talking about with Robert Evans.
Robert Evans, some of you diehard wrestling fans might remember him as Barrister R.D. Evans in ROH for a bit. He did a lawyer gimmick. He also is the writer for WWE that got fired during the Bret Hart promo for whatever reason. It's I'll let him tell the story, but it's stupid. And it was I don't even think he got fired as much as he just kind of looked at him and was I quit. This is
what Bret Hart promo are we talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. The Hall of Fame, Bret Hart's Hall of Fame promo where he got attacked by a fan.
Oh yeah.
The rumor is, and I don't know. This is all second, third hand information. I'm going to go ahead and tell you though, was that promo ran long and he got in trouble for it, and probably for having certain people's names mentioned and blah blah blah, whatever. And eventually he just looked at it going I quit, dude, because the segment ran long. Yeah, a guy attacked him. A guy attacked a 60-year-old stroke victim. How is it the writer's fault? Anyway, so he's out of that, and then now he's writing for Impact. He's been writing for Impact for quite a while. One of the most creative wrestling minds I had ever had the experience of talking to or hanging out with. The guy can just not just a promo, but like he can he can write a vignette like nothing. And like it's actual like stuff in the background that you can actually pay attention to, but it doesn't take away from the forefront. It's wonderful work, which you don't usually see in wrestling. Usually it's a guy in a blank wall behind you just cutting a monotone promo. This guy actually shows you how to pull some character out. He's a great guy.
I could tell he. I've always felt like he had a big influence on you because
huge.
I mean, especially with your Monster Hunter, being the Monster Hunter now.
Yes, the monster, like it is a big influence on me because, like I mentioned earlier, I did some stage theater. It's always Brett's fault. Andrew Herm said, "Must be an HBK guy."
No, he's Justin's a Bret Hart guy, and the rest of us aren't. So.
So they like to rub it in my face. That's all.
Don't worry, Justin. I'm right there with you, man. Brett's the best. That's my guy. I don't remember what the hell we were talking. Oh, Robert Evans. The Monster Hunter. He's got a big influence on any of that kind of character work that I've been delving into the last few years. But a lot of it's also Wally Darkman, the third person that you mentioned in my training. Wally's about my size. He left wrestling and joined the circus, which I love telling people. It's hilarious to me. And then, but like a lot of his look and his mannerisms, I've adopted and made my own, just as my little ode to him. But the thing that Evans really showed me is that there's a lot of beauty in getting over through not really jobbing out as much or enhancing other guys, because it's just that you get to stand out in a way that no one else wants to. He was able to show me, a lot of these guys, they won't swallow their pride, and you got 30 guys on a roster and they all want to be badasses. They all want to be badasses. That doesn't mean they are. And so you got 30 guys all pretending to be badasses. About a handful of them actually are. And I guarantee it's not the ones that are loud and abrasive about it. And so I get to go out there and enhance some of these dudes and make them look wonderful. And I'm the one that's going to get over because I'm the only one in that building that's different. You know what I mean? It's like having 48 Tom Cruises in there. It's like, I don't need any more pretty boy leading actors. I need a John Candy. I need some, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous that some of these guys like, oh, let's go tit for tat on every match on this 48 match card. And it's like, come on. You know what I mean? Have some character, have some panache. I mean, this is you're in a theater in the round. Let's try to entertain some people. And so that's what Robert Evans has helped me out with. And to this day, I'll still give him a call and be like, hey, man, I'm trying to get this kind of reaction from the crowd, this specific reaction, so that I can do this and this and this, and I can ride this pop, and I can blah, 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 blah. And he's, like I said, he's a genius. He's one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to in my life.
Kind of goes back to the theory that people don't really pay tickets to see a Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, hour-long Broadway. People are attracted a lot of times by attractions and characters and storylines, not necessarily, oh, this guy's the best worker of all time. Well, who gives a shit if he can't get over, right?
Yeah, like, it's true to an extent. Like, I do think that your Ric Flairs and Steamboats do sell the tickets. But that can't be the only match.
Young me.
Yeah, that can't be the only match on the card. We got other stuff happening. And if match 2 is trying to be Ricky Steamboat and Flair, it's not going to work out. I have the better version of that over here. But that's indie wrestling. Everyone's trying to get a break. They're trying to learn on as they go and stuff like that, and they don't know. It's whatever as far as that. But a lot of them forget that there's wives in the crowd. There's kids in the crowd. They don't, and I say wives just because people bring their significant other all the time to the things that they don't really care about, but they're supporting. And they need somebody to be entertaining to them too. You know what I mean? Like some of these guys, screw it. Go on Twitter and watch all these GIFs of these amazing wrestlers. And like, oh, he's the best in the world. Now, watch that video again and look in the background. Not a single person's leaving their seat. You know what I mean? They're all sitting down. That was a great 6:30. Oh my God, I can't believe that guy took that pile driver and risked his life. And You know what I mean? Are they
Mhm.
really that good? They really that good if the audience member is just waiting until intermission to give a little clap? I mean, you might as well just go to a play at that point. It's
Yeah.
whatever. So
Well, it's connection with fans. And I
connection,
think,
it's entertainment, it's everything.
yeah.
It's just
We were in a match probably the last time I worked with you at MPX. It was a tag team match. You and Athena versus Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae.
heck yeah.
And
Heck yeah. I remember that day. That was a good day. That was a great day.
I remember that there was so much that went on in that match. I mean, we did the sucker spot.
Mm-hmm. You took the sucker, right?
I did take the sucker.
That's right. Yeah, you did. I think I volunteered you for that one.
Yeah. But I just remember that when Athena came off the top rope and hit the O-face, boom. And I remember everybody in the arena going nuts for it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't just bell to bell wrestling. It was
No, because I remember we had kind of like briefly choreographed some of it, but we didn't know because we were all character actors and workers trying to figure out, like this audience and stuff. So let's not set anything in stone, things you're supposed to do. And I remember one of the opening spots was the what do you call it? The monkey fight, whatever they get on the shoulders and they
yeah.
and Candace, like Joey and Candace are doing their bit, and I'm holding Athena and stuff like that. We even did a spot where Joey and I were in the ring, and we did like a little bit of chain wrestling, and it had to be maybe 15, 20 seconds long, not that much, because crowds like, they're all right, but they're not here to see us. We tag in the ladies, and they go in there, and they just start going. They're bah, 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 and Joey and I are just on the outside, just kind of looking at each other. It's like, we probably should have done more. I feel bad because we didn't do shit. So like by the time that we got in there, we were doing the bit where I don't want to hit Candace. Just like, I just felt uncomfortable, blah 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 blah, that old thing. So that when I actually super kicked the hell out of her later for the finish, it mattered a little bit more. And I was upset too because at the end of it, I was like, man, I didn't really wrestle too much with Joey. I think I did like a dive and some chain. And I gave Candace the super. And Athena comes back just drenched in sweat. Some bruising on her arms. She's like, damn, that was rough. And I'm just kind of looking at Joey going, yeah. Rough, sweetheart. Good times, dude. But MPX, you brought up MPX. I own MPX now. But back then, I didn't. I was just a journeyman wrestler, and now somehow I own that place. We moved out of that gym. Justin, we had a gym. I think I told you a little bit before the show. We had this gym. It was hot as hell, but we had to move all the equipment out to set the seats up every week. It was a weekly show. Still is a weekly show. Had to move it all out. Well, I don't know about you guys, but when I broke in the wrestling, I was 130 pounds. I could barely move. I was trying to move stuff. It's like, I can't, I need some help. And then I had the audacity to go backstage during matches and be like, I don't know, man. I think I got to look strong here.
Yeah. Hey, I know you helped me move that box today, but I think I should go over.
Yeah, you know what? I know I had trouble moving the leg press today. It had no weights on it. But
I mean,
what do you think about tapping out to a sharpshooter?
Barbells laying around. We're talking about machines.
Well, dude, I had like the 20-pound weights in the back, and I was curling on them. I was like, I don't think I can have this match now. I think I'm willing to a hand with my 2 sets of 3.
It was quite an experience working in that building.
Well, now we're in the small. We're not smaller. I mean, it houses the same number of people, but it's smaller, right? And basically, I painted it to look like a black box theater. It's pretty cool. If you guys want to check it out, under my name there, twitch.tv/Metroplex Wrestling. Give it a look. See, you see like an LED MPX sign in the background. It's all black because when I first bought it, it looked like Smoke Stain Central. It was like this beige and off-white
cream color, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, let's paint it black, and that way the lights are on the boys, right? They're the ones risking their lives, so put the lights on them, like you would do a black box theater that doesn't have a lot of money for sets.
Yeah.
So that's where it is now, and I gotta tell you, it's awesome. Beforehand, it was okay. But now that the focus is just on the wrestlers, they've stepped it up. 1,000,000%, they've stepped it up. Those guys are fantastic.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah!
You bring a lot of talent through there.
Well, I mean, it's a weekly show, and I mean weekly. I have two other owners. It's Athena and I and another couple, and they're not in the wrestling business. They're just fans who wanted to buy this thing because it was going out of business. Athena wanted a place to put her wrestling school. I love the people that originally started the place, so it's like I bought it. And so,
for those of y'all that don't know who we're talking about Athena, the current Ring of Honor Women's Champion, former Ember Moon.
The former Ember Moon, the new minion leader on ROH, the Forever Champ. Yeah, and so like we ended up getting that place. I would say a couple years ago in the middle of the summer, and yeah, that's her and some guy.
She's good. You did good.
I don't know what decisions
but hey,
in
she
life.
did good too because you're pretty dreamy and always have been.
Oh,
thank you. She just wanted a pretty and stupid guy. She's like, he's a simple-minded fool. So, look at it. I don't know what I did to be so damn lucky, but I'm glad I did it.
Well,
That's all I can say.
It was you or John. It was you or Gigolo.
Well, it ain't gonna be Gigolo, I can tell you that. She took his finishing move. I got the rest. Dude, did you ever get to work with Simply Irresistible? Irresistible. I'll learn to speak one day. When it was just Gigolo and myself, no Robert Evans.
Yes.
Dude, I had never been in more matches to where Gigolo just got the crap kicked out of him by Charlie Haas in particular. We'd be in so many tag matches to where you know what, brother? I'll take heat tonight. You did it last week. I got it tonight. And I go in the back, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling spry. Like we had a hell of a match. Gigolo comes walking out, all beat up and bruised. I was like, "What happened, man? You got the hot tag. What?" It's like, Charlie's laying it in. It's like, all right, brother. Look, let's switch the roles. Okay, you take the heat. I'll do the hot tag. Same thing the next week. He comes in all beat up and bruised, and I'm feeling great. And like, Charlie, what's going on, man? Do you not like James? It's like, no, he's great. I love him. Okay. Just okay.
Gigolo James Johnson is the reason that when I saw him that I thought it was a good idea for me to go to wrestling school because he's my size. Mm-hmm. But he's really fair complected. Like he was Sheamus before Sheamus.
Fair complected? The dude's milk in human form. The dude looks like milk.
So I can only imagine that Charlie Haas laying him in has him all bruised because I remember Mike Fox used to do this dark character. He was
it was everyone's hot topic goth boyfriend. It was
right. But he was they were like a ministry type deal. But, and he would use that stuff that you rub on to make your skin
the hot oil.
The hot oil.
Yes. Yes.
To make him real red.
Yeah.
Well, he's
like icy hot oil.
He hit Johnson. Every time he hit Gigolo, it would burn his skin like handprints.
Oh, these jerks! They took that hot oil and they put it in Gigolo's gear.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
So he puts on the tights one day and he's just like, oh.
It's a fire crotch.
He would come back from matches working those guys, and they'd lock in the chin lock, right? And they'd work that hold for a bit. James would come in, and in the back he would just be bright red from Fox's chest on his back on the around his neck.
Oh goodness!
He looked like a peppermint stripe.
It was fun. Poor Gigolo.
Oh yeah, man, good times. Gigolo don't wrestle anymore, but he's still one of the best. You talk about like you watch him and you're like, oh, I can do that. Let me tell you, man, I was in some of the best shape of my life teaming with him, and I couldn't do half the athletic stuff he did. And he had a pot belly. He had black eyes from not sleeping all the time. That dude could do anything except tan. He could not tan.
Not even close to tanning. We used to. Stephanie put a picture up. We used to all get together once a week and go play flag football.
Yep.
And that was pretty much the PCW crew there.
I used to school you guys.
Hey, I kept up with you.
Are you kidding? All right, Dave, let's go ahead and settle this right now.
I used to keep up with you.
You used to. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Hill, the tall guy in the center there, he was usually the quarterback. Excuse me. Usually the quarterback. Well, we always needed another quarterback, and no one could throw except Dave. Problem is, Dave would just throw straight up.
Go get it. Whoever catches
We'd go deep, and he'd go straight up. And so it's like, well, why did I run so fast? Everyone's here now. We're playing a game of or was it jackpot? I think it was at the time. Yeah, it's just a jump for jump ball.
It's a jump ball, yeah.
Yeah. It's like all these 5'7" wrestlers jumping in the air trying to catch this ball. He used to kill me. I used to run my ass off just to get intercepted.
Well, see, I only played quarterback the second half of the games, though, because the first half of the games I tried to run with you.
What? Yeah.
And I could run, but then I'd have to throw up.
So you're basically saying you're running a post route about to the 40, and he throws it to the 25, and you got to come back and get it.
Dude, I don't know where he was throwing it. I think he was trying to hit the sun. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, here all these years later, he's tell you that I could throw it.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up. Straight up.
Now tell me.
Hey, my hands are so small I could barely grip the football, let alone.
Well,
why is he throwing so high on a screen? I don't get.
The reason why he's throwing it straight up is because he probably had to throw it over someone, and that's the only way he could.
We're all 5'7".
Yeah, except for Michael Faith.
Good times.
Nobody was breaking speed records. Jesse and Bags. This was before Bags started running marathons.
That dude runs marathons now? How?
He ran a marathon.
Oh my god.
Is someone giving us a dab in the back, or are they hailing Hitler back there? What are they doing? They're giving I got you.
That pose. He's coming off a little
He's doing the Randy Orton.
I got you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or
all I see is the one hand. Everyone else is doing the 4 horsemen.
Everyone else is putting up the 4 horsemen, yeah.
That's right. You got to do the Arn, though, where the
They're styling and profiling the night before.
Well, we had good time.
Hell yeah,
we did that. We did that every week until I moved.
And we were in great shape for the Saturday shows, too. By the time Sunday rolled around, though, we were done. We were exhausted. Hell yeah, dude.
Well, when I was watching your match earlier, we were talking before the show. I saw you wrestle Izzy. What's his last name? Pondwater?
James.
Izzy James. Yes, and I thought it was really fantastic match. You talked about wrapping someone up in the sharpshooter earlier. You started to, and you gimmicked me because I thought it was a sharpshooter. But no, you kind of flip it into the Ultimo Dragon type of finisher almost.
Yeah, like I called a move the Revenge of Vincent Price.
Yeah, I knew it had someone's name in it. I couldn't remember.
Because it doesn't matter. My character is when I was little, my dad controlled all the media in the house. Right. Radio, whatever he wanted, TV, whatever he wanted, and he wanted to watch old Gray B movies from the 50s and 60s and some older. So Vincent Price.
I had to watch Bonanza from my dad, but
Bonanza was too new. That's too new. We got to watch Rifleman, or you can watch Matt Dillon before the colorized versions. And so Vincent Price was a huge thing. So when I started doing this kind of like tongue-in-cheek gothic Monster Hunter thing, I was like, well, I'm going to do a little bit of something to pay some respects to Dad. So the Revenge of Vincent Price came about. The move itself, though, was an accident. I was doing a sharpshooter on Jason Silver, my friend who passed away recently, and I slipped. And somehow when I slipped, I put my shin into his back. I was like, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, well, while we're here. And I reach over and
Yeah.
grab his chin because, like, I'm not going to make this look like I messed up as much. So I'm going to rear back into the surfboard. And holy crap, did that get such a great reaction? I was like, I think I'm going to keep doing this. And
Yeah.
so, through the years, it's progressed. Like, I used to grab people by the chin and just yank them here. And now I grab them by the forehead and blah, blah, blah. But the one thing that stayed the same is that when I lock in the sharpshooter, people start going, oh, sharpshooter. A lot of guys do a sharpshooter.
Right.
But the second I stop and I reach over with that left arm and start fiddling with the head, people are like, "What
Yeah.
is this?" So like I rear back and I'm yanking them, and all they gotta do is like drop an elbow to get out of
Right.
it, something like that. But like I gotta tell you, as far as finishers go, it's the least painful one I've ever done in my life. It's the only
Right.
one where I'm not getting hurt.
Yeah.
Do a frog splash. I used to do pile drivers. And those big guys landing on my shins or my knees, or me landing on my knees in the frog splash. I can't do it anymore. I can't anymore. Now it's all submissions, boys. You're all tapped.
The reaction that you described the fans giving while you do it in the ring is the exact reaction I had watching it tonight. So yeah.
Good. Hell yeah.
Awesome.
I'm glad you liked it. Glad you liked it. I tried doing that to Moonshine Mantell one time. That dude's just a brick muscle.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like a legit 270.
Yeah. And it wasn't hard lifting him. It was hard bending him.
Right.
I was
Yeah,
like,
he's
Jesus,
compact.
Ryan, come on, man, some yoga or something. Just come, you're killing it. It's like, I'm not that strong.
Yeah, that dude's a solid muscle.
Dude, that guy's awesome. But that was the Gutter Snake Izzy James. For those that are curious, that was at Reality of Wrestling. That's Booker T's show in Houston. Booker T, huge Texas legend. It's like anyone that gets to go work in Houston, they want to go work for Booker's. He controls Houston essentially. There's other shows, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So when I got to work there, I got to work Moonshine, and I got to work with Gutter Snake, and had a blast. But then I separated my shoulder here, my little lumps here. I separated my shoulder, and I couldn't go back and do half the stuff I wanted to do. And I haven't been back since. I'd love to go back, but then I bought MPX. And let me tell you, being a promoter is a pain in the ass. It's just like I never thought how difficult it was as a promoter until I became one myself. Yeah, Holy crap. Do I hate having to deal with guys who are a lot like me? It's the worst.
And you do it on a weekly basis. And I think that may be lost on a lot of people, because I work for a promoter that puts on a show a month.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 2 shows in a month, but most of the time it's just we're trying to go once a month. And I know, what the challenges are there, trying to make it all work. But y'all do it every week.
Every Saturday. And on Christmas, too. I had to fight these guys like, hey, can we take Christmas off? And they're like, well, what are we going to do? I was like, I don't know, go see your families, assholes. I don't know. Nope. They wanted to run it, and they packed the place out. And I was like, all right, but I'm not running against WrestleMania. I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's at least 50 weeks a year that we run. And I take off Saturdays for the Wrestling Revolver, because we started pairing with them for their Texas shows. We have one coming up October 14th in Grand Prairie. Like, we take off those shows, but we're also working that show. So it's not any different. It's just different location. But I won't run against WrestleMania. I've told those guys, like, if we're running against actual Christmas, I am not running against wrestling Christmas. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
When I was a kid, we went to the wrestling matches every year on Christmas.
Yep, that was their reasoning.
Anything else to do that night?
Yeah, and that's what they wanted. They're like, let's have Christmas at the wrestling place. It's like, well, you have to book a local talent, because I can tell you right now, I'm not flying away from my family on Christmas Eve for an indie wrestling show. It's unlikely. Well, I was wrong. Everyone showed up. We had a sold out crowd. It's like, all right, boys, you got it. You got Christmas.
Bringing it back old school, because Thanksgiving and Christmas were the big wrestling days back in the day.
Oh yeah, man. And I thought we would have trouble running against football too.
Yeah.
Not at all. Texas wrestling fans, man, they don't care. They want to see guys fight.
So, come on, Dave. MPX, you run weekly, and y'all do something y'all always have a unique title for your shows,
Mhm.
and y'all are consistent about that. Now, do y'all have your tentpole events that you run once a year, and you'll reuse the names?
Yes. Well, a lot of those shows are, for the most part, the same name every year, right? But not just the big shows, but the regular shows. I mean, we change it up every now and then when something happens, or make it something a little more similar to the actual storylines going on. But for the most part, we have a show called Destiny. That's our big show every year. We have The Purge, which is the year. The one night of the year that anything goes, doesn't matter. We've killed off a few wrestling characters on those nights. I'm slowly going to turn that into like a Guar concert, where like if I can get the prosthetics, somebody's gonna like get their chest ripped open, just spill blood all over the first and second rows. And we got.
It's timely you mentioned Gore, because I just learned about them.
You just learned about Guar?
Yes.
I went to a Guar bar about 6 months ago. I just kind of stumbled in. I was working at a con, a Gen Con, I think it was. I was wrestling for a fantasy cosplay wrestling company as Green Arrow. And I went in there and kind of stumbled upon this Guar bar. It had all this stuff like hanging out. I had guys like the little mannequins dripping blood and all that kind of stuff. It was cool. It was awesome. And I'm still trying to find a way to like get somebody with a fake chest to get like ripped open. Just like,
I've got a friend that's a DJ, and when they come to town, he's going to be one of the DJs. I guess they kill a DJ in every town.
That's cool. That's cool.
He's excited about it.
I want to tell indie wrestler every year. But yeah, we got that. We also inherited the Fight Win Survive, the annual Fight Win Survive. Remember that from PCW? We got a lot of fun shows, man. You have to when you have over 50 shows a year. And I keep telling people, because you get those fans who are like, why isn't this guy booked on this day? And like, we could have had this and this, and it's like, because I'm not a billionaire. You know what I mean? Because they're independent contractors, and there's thousands upon thousands of them all trying to get work, and I got like $100. It's just like you got all these billionaires, and you got fans who are like, well, why aren't you doing it like they're doing it? It's like, well, like there's a key resource that we're missing. But yeah, but after, I think they've been in business total 14 years now. I think you might be able to remember exactly. But I think they've been around for like 14 years. They started off as a legit backyard wrestling company, which I've never done backyard wrestling. I'm not a big fan of it. And they slowly morphed into a tried and true legitimate wrestling show. And that's when I bought them. And now they're going downhill fast. Now it's looking better and better. We're growing our shows every week. We've had a sellout for the last 2.5 months. We're pairing with larger shows in the Midwest. We have our Twitch stream. We're slowly going to get every media outlet soon and start streaming on there. These guys in Texas, and Dave, you'll remember this. Texas has its own style. If you're the kind of fan who likes flippy stuff and the Will Ospreay and the Ricochet and all that kind of stuff, we got that. We got that, sure. But we don't have just that. I call it kind of like Texas strong style. You'll see these guys, they'll have their mixed martial art experience, and they'll have their bar fight experience. These are dudes slugging it out. Like when the hand hits the chest or the head, you hear it. It's not this let's stomp on the mat kind of thud. It's sound on sound. It's meat on meat, skin on skin. These guys are smacking the hell out of each other. Even in training class, we run training class 3 days a week. We're not doing this 1975 stomping the ground shit. Like, if you're going to make contact and the audience is 20 feet away from you, make some damn contact. We got 8K cameras now. We got to stop this flip-flop. Not to stop the flip-floppy, but we got to stop this fake-ass tough guy stuff. You know what I mean? These guys, you got to get hit. I mean, like, you got to build a callus. Anyway. So that's Texas strong style. So a lot of people are starting to see the difference between the Midwest stuff and the Texas stuff. And they're starting to realize, I ain't that tough when they wrestle a Texas guy. So Well, yeah, that's what we're trying to emphasize more at MPX. We're going to give you the flash and flare. We got storylines. You have to have storylines because it's a weekly show. We have to record all these promos weekly just to push the show constantly. And we also have to be able to go in there and give it a fight feel. You know what I mean? I don't understand these guys that go in there and like, what's your finisher? Well, I fall off the rope and land on you with my back. How much do you weigh? I'm 150 pounds. Piss off. You know what I mean? It's like, this dude over here, when he clotheslines you, you're going to feel it. It's like, oh, you got me a little stiff there, brother. It's like, nah. No, I didn't.
Not yet.
See, and I know that you've always been this way because I used to tell him all the time, you should do slingshot suplex. And he'd point out to me that he was not big enough to execute a slingshot suplex.
Who?
You.
Me? Well, yeah, I was 130 pounds at the time. I'm bigger now.
I tried to get you to do it.
I actually
because you didn't think it would
It didn't fit him at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the guy getting slingshotted at the time. I can make anyone look strong at that time.
Bouncing everywhere.
Now I can do it, but I'm too busy looking at the lights. I taught a guy about 2 weeks ago actually how to do a slingshot suplex. It was easy. It was,
I tried to tell you. I worked with one of your trainees this past weekend.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Risa.
Who? Riza.
Oh
yeah, that's one of Athena's prize pupils. She loves Riza. She's been working with her about 5 years now. Yeah,
she was really good. She wrestled Emmy Camacho, and she did something that completely floored me. She talked to me during the match. She was using me during the match.
Dude, that's one of the biggest things that we've been teaching. That
she told me that's how I found out you were teaching her.
Yeah, I was like, you think that guy in the ring is just there for fun? He's a utility player. Like, that's the guy that probably set up the ring, or he set up some sort of tech. You know, every ref's got a side job that they're usually doing, and then or he's handing out the window at the end of the night. So talk to him, utilize him just as a political move. Talk to him, and then go in the ring, and that guy's not sitting in the corner 10 feet away from the action. He's right there. Why do you think he's right there? To feign to 1, 2, 3. It's like, no, man, he's telling you, hey, man, you got 6 minutes. Hey, you're showing your ass to the camera. What are you doing? Turn around. You know what I mean? It's just these guys, they're so used to just doing their moves and doing their thing that they saw on YouTube or Twitter that they're trying to get over and copy, instead of being like, hey, man, how much time we got left? Hey, could you tell him the move? Thanks, man. You know what I mean?
It floored me because it's rare that I get it, but that may be possibly the first time in a women's match that I've ever got it.
Oh yeah, and that's the beauty of Athena. Athena, I'm her husband, of course, but I'll go to my grave saying Athena is probably one of the best women's wrestlers to have ever lived. Simply because she can go in there and wrestle, and while other people are like, oh, here's this spot, oh, what's this spot? It's like, doesn't matter to her. That's not what she's thinking about. She's thinking, oh, this spot, each spot here takes 30 seconds. The transition takes about 30 seconds here. Blah, there's a minute here. The commercial's probably going to go in here. You got blah, 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 blah. She's not thinking about the match. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's muscle memory to her. You know what I mean? She's thinking, okay, I got to make sure that this person's looking all right here. They got to make sure that they're looking at the camera here. They got 2 moves here they got to get in. I got to make sure that this match goes 8 minutes exactly so Snickers doesn't get mad at us. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's stuff that people on the indies do not understand. They're stressing about the spot that they came up with 30 minutes prior to the show, thinking that's the one that's going to get them the next booking. And it's not. It never is. They're stressed out about the wrong things.
Well, I think they give y'all an advantage as a training school because last year I actually got to work three pay-per-views last year. Awesome. And I learned real quick and in a hurry that television wrestling is a lot different than arena wrestling.
A lot different. And if you're not comfortable as a wrestler, you could sometimes feel like you're taking too long when you're doing the TV thing. Like maybe you're selling down and the guy's getting some character moments with the crowd or something like that. And you feel like, oh, I got to get up. Oh, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, man, no. just relax, chill. Keep the cell going. Don't just die on me. Don't just hop up after somebody's beating your ass and fight back 0 to hero style. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I love TV wrestling. Indie wrestling's fun too but it's like running a marathon. It's exhausting. You know what I mean? Because these guys are, okay, let me get a breather. I give him a clothesline. Let me turn. Like I tell the referee, blah, 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 blah. How much time we got left? Let me work the crowd. And this dude's already up. And I was like, God damn, man. Let me get a breather. Just, come on. We've been doing this straight for 8 minutes. 8 minutes straight on this workout. We haven't had a rest between sets. And you're just settle down. Relax. Calm down, dude. Just relax. TV wrestling, love it. All day. Give me a chin lock, brother. I'm gassed from doing my drop kick.
It's a different animal. I'll tell you that. What I didn't know, I mean, what you don't know, you don't know. And I learned pretty quick that night.
Dude, I'm happy for you, man. I didn't know that you, well, actually, I think I did, and I forgot it, that you reffed Ric Flair's last match. That is so cool, man. I love that. That's so fucking cool.
I had no idea until that day that I was going to get to do that.
Did you knew you were on the card though? When did you know you were on the card?
I got a phone call, and I was given the choice between the Briscoes versus the Von Erichs or the Horsemen versus the Rock and Roll.
Dude,
and I immediately jumped on the Briscoes.
Yeah, you went Briscoes.
I went Briscoes.
Okay. I tell you the truth, I would have gone the other way. It'd have been like Horsemen. I was like, hell yeah, Horsemen. I'm in.
Well, I mean, Briscoes were one of the best tag teams in the world.
I am not arguing that fact. I'm just looking at the fact that I watched one of them when I was 4. And it was like, and that's the one I want to watch.
Yeah, I just but then that day I was called off to the side and said, hey, tonight we're going to bump Kyoto. We're going to need you to run down and slide in and make the 3 count. I'm like,
oh, that's cool.
Now, I'd like to tell you it was because I had all these years of experience and that I'd paid my dues and I'd earned it. But the truth of the matter is my best friend's a promoter and he wanted it for me.
Yeah.
Nepotism, baby.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Only way to get over.
But Matt, as you know, a friend of Dave and knowing how much Ric Flair means to him, I mean, when I was watching it and I saw the brass knucks get thrown in and I knew there was a ref bump and I was just praying like, let it be Dave. And then here he comes right in. I had tears coming down my face, goosebumps, just knowing how much it meant for him to do that. It was awesome.
That's Dave. I won't harp on it too much, but did you haul ass to the ring? Were you like sprinting to the ring doing that slide? How gassed were you by the end of the night? Like after you're done raising the hands and the people are done, when you went to the curtain, how gassed were you?
It took me a little while, and then it all hit me.
Yeah,
but I was genuinely concerned for Rick.
Yeah.
and then really annoyed because the backstage was so crazy. It was just people were back there that didn't have any business being back there, and
like fans or media.
Both.
Same thing these days.
Well, you know, there was like the who's who of. I mean, when I walked into gorilla position, the Road Dogg and his brother and Dr. Tom were running gorilla.
Okay.
And Michael Hayes was there helping.
Okay.
And at one point I walked back there and there's the Undertaker. And there's Hurricane Helms.
All right, boys, get the hell out of the locker room. Wrestlers only.
Yeah. Us professionals got to work here.
But once we walked back into coming through gorilla and it was just crazy with celebrities and wrestlers and that weren't on the card and people that I had no idea. It was a nutty scene. So when I went and I got back into where my locker was, then I just I started shaking. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. There's been a couple of moments like that in my career where it's like, oh my God, did I just see this guy? Did I just wrestle this dude? And it's like, I'm just sitting there going like, this is my life. Isn't this incredible? I didn't, whatever decisions I made to get here, hell yeah, on my part. That's awesome. That's great, dude. That makes me so happy. We went from playing like tag football on Wednesdays and Friday nights before a show to you reffing Ric Flair's last match, getting to choose Von Erichs and Briscoes. Hell yeah, dude. Congratulations. That's badass.
Thank you. We saw you nationally not too long ago.
Oh, which one? The Impact one?
Impact with Moose.
Yeah, when I wrestled in front of nobody. During the COVID years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, I was scheduled to wrestle in some sort of cruiserweight tournament at the time. And I had a few people pitching for me to be at Impact. Of course, nepotism works. It's amazing. But it was at the last minute, they changed it to some sort of like 3-minute challenge with Moose. And I just started doing the Monster Hunter thing. I think I just ditched the John McClane look and went more with the 1800s Victorian era kind of vibe. And I get there and they're like, oh, we just want white meat babyface. And I'm just like, why am I here? Just like, I wear makeup and I walk around and talk like this. Yeah, and it was like, no. We just want like white meat babyface. You're going to be a security guard that gets thrown around and then you have a match and then you survive. And I was like, oh, this sucks.
Hey, that's surviving when you're not supposed to has been done for years, and you did it as well as anybody I've seen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely didn't die. I did that spot with Rodney Mack, that White Boy Challenge, like 12 years prior. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it was no big deal. I was just like, man, all these years of getting critiques, being told, hey, work on your facial expression, try to stand out more. Sounds great. Okay, I show up. We want this. All right, I'll be the good hand. This is what you verbatim wanted. This is what I'll give you. I get to the back. It's like, well, why didn't you do anything?
Why didn't you do your shit?
Why didn't you do the thing? And I was like, because I can't teleport a jacket in different gear and put makeup on. You wrote it, jackass. So yeah, that was my one and done with Impact. Probably still my one and done once this promo gets out. But I don't care.
Let's I had another question about MPX. Something else that y'all did that's pretty innovative. Your prospects title.
Yeah.
Your belt is really it's a really cool belt too.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm in the middle of getting rid of it.
Are y'all really?
Yeah. So the prospect belt that he's mentioning, basically the Money in the Bank concept WWE introduced all those years ago, has become basically a staple for any show that's a consistent show. Like it's going to happen at least once in your local wrestling show, some sort of number one contender at any moment kind of thing. We didn't like that too much. I mean, yeah, it's a thing, and we understand it's a good little mechanism to get the next storyline going or next guy. So that we decided that you could win the prospect title, but you had to defend it 4 times successfully before you were allowed to cash it in the Money in the Bank at any moment kind of stipulation. Simply because, well, you need content. You know what I mean? You need content to put on the show, and you can't just have one rip-off ladder match that people see, once a year already from a billion-dollar company. So you got to give them a wrestling match for it. And then you got to give them more wrestling matches for it. And in the process of it, we were able to make more content, but also find ways to where, yeah, this guy won, but he didn't cash in because he lost in the third defense. Now it's slowly becoming a secondary title that means something. It's legitimately a secondary title because you want to successfully defend it so that you can get the title. It's a good little way of separating it. I'm not a big fan of guys like, oh, this belt's the work rate belt. This belt here, I'd rather have this belt because of Mr. Perfect here and Brutus Beefcake here. It's like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? It's like the whole point is to get to the last match on the card. That's usually what everyone paid to see. If it's not, then most people will leave. You already got their money, but they'll leave by intermission. But you want it to have a hierarchy. How are you going to have storytelling when, like, that's the big belt. That's the one that the star has. But these guys are better wrestlers. what? What? You know what I mean? It's like, what terrible storytelling is like, yeah, the guy that has the big belt, not that good of a wrestler. This guy over here, though, he defends it every week. And he's like, come on, man. Come on. So the prospect belt became that. And so right now, I'm actually in the process of trying to phase it out. Simply because it's been around for, I want to say, 7-8 years now. And I just feel like it's time that it could just be its own secondary belt. Now, It's been 7-8 years. We can make it a secondary belt. People know it's the belt. We won't go away from the structure, the booking structure of like, yeah, that guy isn't just going to be the IC champion and that's it. He's going to get a bump up in the card once he's done with that, right? But anyway, I'm getting a lot of flack on that one because the other owner's like, no, it's the best thing when the music hits and the guy goes in the cash in. And it's like, you're still saying cash in. You're still saying the WWE line. It's like, so that's whatever.
And the side plates have numbers on them and
yes,
little medallions that you can remove.
And we put it
like a countdown.
We film a little video each time of somebody screwing in the little plates. And we air it. It's like, this is title defense number 3 right here, and we'll show me like taking off, like just it's my hands, but we'll show my hands like taking off a belt when the numbers when the guy loses the belt to the next guy, and he's just like, no, I was so close.
Well, you know, I've always been a belt guy, so.
Oh, I can tell.
And
yeah.
And hey, and if you want to be a belt guy too?
Oh, sure. I love belts.
Big Time Belts is for you then.
Woo.
Big Time Belts with low prices and high quality. If you just want a belt to carry around the house, throw over your shoulder because it makes you feel like a badass, Big Time Belts has got it for you. If you're a wrestling promotion, don't use toy belts with stickers on them. Give your champion something they can be proud to take to the ring. Big Time Belts is providing custom belts at affordable prices for wrestling promotions all over the United States. This belt, the belt that's on the screen right now is a custom belt. Stacked plates. This Grand Champion, Grand is stacked on top of the plates. If you can dream it, they can make it. They could turn just a drawing that you put on a piece of paper into art that becomes metal and leather. You could get a belt with your favorite sports team. You could get a belt with your granddaughter's softball team. Just whatever you want. If you can dream it up, we can make it at Big Time Belts. You might be saying to yourself, Dave, I'd like to have belts, but my wife would kill me. I'm here to tell you, I now own 76 belts, and she gets over it. I mean, they do get over it. Well, Dave, I can't spend $300. She won't speak to me. It's football season. You don't want her to speak to you anyway. Not right now. She'll get over it by the spring. Big Time Belts. Get one for your fantasy football team. What would be better than awarding the winner of your fantasy football league a belt? So go on over to Facebook, type in Big Time Belts.
You got the robe.
Big Time Belts will hit you hooked up, and we want to thank them for sponsoring our show.
Dude, I like that SWA heavyweight title there. That was really cool, and those stacked plates look awesome. That's some awesome depth they added to that belt. That's cool.
They replaced all their belts just recently, and from what I understand, AWA and Alabama's doing it as well.
Dude, I need to contact them for my new tag title.
Y'all have some of the nicest belts. Y'all have. I mean, I love your tag belts.
Yeah, I gotta get new ones. They're tearing apart. Big Time Belts might be the place I go to after I get off this with you guys.
Dave, don't bring up any of his other belts. You're killing them all. The one he said he's phasing off, and now this one's like, they're crap. I gotta.
Well, I'm trying to phase it off. The other 3 owners are like, no, we can't do that.
Their heavyweight championship is actually the Dallas Skyline, the Metroplex Skyline.
Yeah.
On the main plate. And didn't Aaron Eagle your champion right now?
Aaron Eagle, my first roommate 17 years ago. Yeah, man. He made a comeback. He was gone for how long was he gone for? 6-8 years, something like that. He got a
long time.
Yeah, he got hit in the head one too many times. And then, advancements in technology and medical, he came back, looks better than ever. The work is 10 times better than when he was in his 20s too. It's crazy how that happens. These guys hit 32 and they're just boom, ready to go. They're jacked full of muscle and they know how to like manipulate a crowd. He's been a godsend for MPX. The hero. He comes out and he does a pose, right? And he was the heel at the time, but he got over so much because he would just stand in the corner and do a pose. I can't even do it right. He's got muscles too. He would just do a pose, and he would legit stand there for like over 2 minutes, and people would just start counting on their watches, and they tweet about how long he'd be in that pose. He'd do it so well, he'd get over, and he became a baby face, and he still does it. He even held it for like 3 minutes a couple of weeks ago. His came back with his arm, and it's like, my shoulder hurts. Like it's just like, yeah, you dumbass, you just did this for 3 minutes. Love that guy. Love that guy.
I got to referee for him right when he came back. He worked the Hall of Fame show that Fuller does in Fort Worth, when WrestleMania weekend, when WrestleMania was in Dallas, and and it was just so good to get to work with him. And he's been here to Mississippi once.
Yeah, bring him back.
I've got to work with him here in Mississippi one time, and he was at PCW when I started.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Uncut the first time I went to actually just went as a fan before I ever went to the school.
Same. I remember being in the crowd watching him have one of his early matches. He was like a Boy Scout gimmick or something, like Cub Scout or something, I think it was. And he was 120 pounds. He was like 5'8". And then, when I get in the wrestling, he starts working out a little bit, grows 5-6 inches. Now he's like 6'2". He's legit like 230, just full of muscles. And it's like, what the hell, man? Where's my growth spurt? What's going on here?
He used to eat all the time trying to put on mass because he was so skinny when he was a kid.
Dude, all the time we would carry those meal packing bags where it had like 5-6 meals. We'd have like 5, 6, 7 meals a day, not counting protein shakes. Just trying to gain weight, trying to do it without any steroids or anything like that. And holy crap, dude, our metabolism must have been insane for being in our mid-20s. We were shredded. Guys would be like, damn, Palmer, damn, Eagle, you guys got 6 packs and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but if the wind blows, we're going to fly away. Like, we have no mass.
When you were growing up,
don't count.
When you're growing up, Matt, what sports did you play, if any?
Look at me, dude. Look at me.
I mean, I didn't know, man.
Like I play sports.
You could have played basketball. You could have played basketball.
Pee-wee basketball as a 30-year-old.
Soccer.
No.
That's the go-to for all of us that we couldn't get on any other kind of team. We just we'd go play soccer because nobody else would.
That's right. Athena was the soccer player. I actually had a very unusual childhood. I won't get too far into it, but I didn't get to play any sports because of it. And so I got to do some theater. That was fun. Right. But due to the unusualness of my early upbringing, there wasn't time for sports. Nor would I be good at them.
Well, actually, theater probably helps you as a wrestler because, obviously there's a lot of that in there and telling a story.
Yes.
What wrestlers did you grow up kind of like? Did you grow up kind of ever thinking about wanting to be a wrestler? I mean, obviously you probably watched it as a kid, and who kind of inspired you back then?
Since I was 4 years old, I've wanted to be a wrestler. It's the only thing I ever wanted to be. It's the only reason I did theater, because I am deathly shy. Like scary shy. Like it's like obviously it seems unusual now because I'm talking to you, but I am a hardcore introvert, and so I needed some way of getting out and getting out of my shell because I so desperately wanted to be a wrestler that I started doing theater just to learn how to talk in front of people and not cry while doing it. And so I did a lot of that. But as far as and my old man, showed me how to lift weights and be a little athletic while we were living our life. But as far as wrestlers, my favorite wrestlers growing up was Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart. Love Shawn Michaels too. I don't understand the hate for any of that one or the other. I don't get that. But I loved Bret the most. He was the first wrestling match I ever saw was him and Davey Boy back when Bret was doing the IC run. Not the SummerSlam match, but it was like those like Coliseum home videos where they got Those
Whack 'em, smack 'em, or something
yeah,
like
dude,
that.
those are the best, man. Those
Yeah.
are the best. I still remember Davey Boy and Sean having that match where Davey goes for the superplex and Sean turns into the crossbody
Yeah.
for the cover, and like those things. I love those matches to this day. I was a huge Benoit fan when I was a little kid. I loved the wrestlers, Malenko. I loved Regal. I loved Regal a lot. My dad and I loved Regal, and it wasn't just because of wrestling. Regal was the one who actually started showing that character,
Right.
and like every wrestler had character, but it was just
the facial
the
expression.
face.
Yeah.
Like before he even
He's the
did anything,
best.
like he was just
Yeah.
disgusted by having people even look at him or talk to him, and I was like, oh, I love this guy so much. And then when my teen years, I started discovering a bit of Memphis wrestling, and I used to find the old was it Wrestling Gold, those old cassettes back in the day, and I got introduced to like Tommy Rich and
Yeah.
the Poffo family and stuff
Dave
like
and
that.
I have been introduced to Tommy Rich more than we wanted to.
He
That's
almost
what I
got,
hear.
us kicked, he almost got us kicked out of a comedy club in Huntsville.
Yeah. I was, let's just say I was his flower man for a weekend in St. Louis, and that was not a good job.
Ooh, fun. I never worked with him, but I've heard stories, and it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my guys. I liked the guys basically that were like the fantastic wrestlers.
That's
and then
exactly how
somehow
I
along
was.
the way, I became a guy who wears makeup and
Right.
does a Jack Sparrow walk to the ring, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Barely wrestles at all. But those are my guys, man. Ever since I was 4, I couldn't tell you how many times that I watched a match of, like, say, Benoit versus one of the
Malenko or
guys from
something like
Men at Work, like an old
Oh.
Saturday morning job match, and I just watch it over and over because, like, I love the way he do the dragon suplex. Or I'd watch Brett and Perfect from SummerSlam, which is still one of the best matches ever.
Yeah.
I know Dave's over here just sitting there going, like,
Well, we grew up appreciating the same thing. Obviously, Bret Hart was my favorite, and I was, like you, a guy that appreciate like the workers, the Eddie Guerreros, the Chris Benoits, the Owen Harts, those guys. But I didn't want to crap on the when I said the Ric Flair Ricky Steamboat comment earlier. I didn't mean that doesn't draw. I meant, like, when we talk about like Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, I meant you don't have to have that to draw big, is, I guess, was the point I was trying to make.
gotcha.
There.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was never really a Hulkamaniac or an Ultimate Warrior fan. I liked Savage a bit, but I kind of thought he was all over the place even as a kid. You know what I mean? It was just like, it's all right. But you give me some Heart Foundation, you give me some Rockers, Brain Busters, and I'm using a lot of WWE because that's what I was introduced to as a kid. It wasn't until I was near a teenager, no, maybe not even a teenager, when I started watching like the Natural, Dustin Rhodes versus Rick Rude for the U.S. title, Steamboat and Rude versus TV title, things like that. I used to, I didn't even know WCW existed, but when I found out pre NWO, Steamboat became my guy, and then the Hollywood Blondes. I love the Blondes, but Steamboat was my guy.
That time period, my parents didn't have cable yet, so I had to go to my grandparents and stay the night with her for the weekend because I could watch WCW Saturday night, and that was my first introduction to it, like around 93, 94.
Yeah,
like I saw Ric Flair bleeding on magazines. Like I kind of I knew it was happening, but I really didn't know what was going on.
Right. I was the same way. I was the exact same way. I had to go to an older relatives to get to see my WCW Saturday night because we didn't have cable out in the middle of the country. Hell, we didn't have floors. I lived on dirt floors.
And I was in a double wide. My parents were getting fucking cable in 1990.
Right? Yeah, it was like, what the hell's cable? We're watching Gunsmoke, son. Let's do it. But I got introduced to like Rick Rude, Steamboat, Benoit. I was never a Flair fan. Sorry, Dave. I was never a Flair fan. I appreciate him now, but I was all about Steamboat. I liked me a little bit of Ricky Morton. I'm not going to lie. That was a little bit older, but I'd go back and watch some stuff. I liked some Ricky Morton. Never was a Von Erich fan, which is weird, being a Texas boy, but I didn't like the Von Erichs. But I liked a lot of the Texas heels. Anyone Skandar Akbar was coming into the ring with, I don't know why. Maybe I was just a little shit stirrer, a little kid, but I liked Skandar a lot, a lot.
Did you do this thing, Matt, which was the old classic? When your grandma or whoever picked you up, we had to stop by the video store so I could get Royal Rumble '92 and watch Ric Flair win or something like that
Dude, get out of
again.
my head. So we had this little hole in the wall rental place. It was like BJ's Videos or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And the way I was able, because they only had like 3 wrestling videos. It was the Rumble where Rumble 91 where Warrior loses the belt and Hogan wins the Rumble. It was the SummerSlam 91 with Bret and Perfect.
Bret and Perfect, yeah.
And then what was the other one? Oh, it was SummerSlam 92, the England. And those are the ones I rented religiously every Friday when I got out of school, to the point where my parents just signed a little waiver saying, hey, he can rent these wrestling videos whenever he wants. No parental permission. I was like 8 or 9. The problem is they categorize the wrestling with the R-rated movies. And so by the time I got to be 11 or so, here I'm coming home with all Dusk Till Dawn. Hell yeah, we're going to watch them. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm watching SummerSlam 92. Meanwhile, Selma Hayek's got the snake and was like, oh.
I think I pulled that gimmick off myself a few times.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the video store was the best, man. Because like I grew up in the late 80s, but I was only like 3 or 4 or 5 years old. I turned 5 in 90. So like it was awesome that I could go back and rent WrestleMania 2 and 3 and all the stuff that I didn't see when I was a baby, you know.
Well, I'm old. I got to watch it first run.
Yeah.
They didn't even have video rental places back then. You got to go there live on the show.
I bought my first VCR to tape Saturday Night Wrestling on TBS when I got cable, just to hear Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes cut promos, and I had to buy a Beta because I couldn't afford a VHS.
Oh man,
Beta was the cheaper of the two.
You chose the wrong one. Looking back at it, didn't you?
Yeah. I did. I chose poorly.
Yeah. We got the laser disc thing when just before DVDs came out, or whatever that large
thing is.
It didn't last long either.
Holy God, we were dumb.
And it's amazing how much you spent on stuff back then. I was watching this video on Twitter. It was this dude. It was like 1999, and you remember those big stand-up box TVs? Like they just sat on the ground, but they were huge. He goes, guys, come here in the basement. Look what I got. And they're all like, holy shit, dude! How much did that cost you? $10,000? And he goes, half, $5,000. And then like 2 years later, they got the flat screens on the wall.
Isn't that heartbreaking looking back at all that? It's like I spent $5,000 to watch a 26-inch screen.
I think my first television as an adult, I think my first television floor model it was a floor model. It was furniture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, ours swiveled on the ground
for it, and it wasn't all that big, and it took 2 people to carry it in.
Yeah, they were heavy. Ours was on that wood swivel. Remember those? Big ones.
My first remote control was telling my brother to get up and change channel.
Yeah.
We had a remote control that was like this big, and it had everything on it. And like I don't know how I couldn't operate it to this day, but as a little kid, I knew exactly where the record button and the play button was because I only had 2 of the blank VHS tapes, and so I would just record over each one. I discovered one a few years ago, and apparently the last thing I had put on there was Lex Luger versus Bastion Booger from some Saturday morning.
What a classic!
Yeah,
it's a mad classic there.
And it was babyface Lex, and they were just trying to show how strong he was. It's like, oh, can he lift Bastion Booger? If he's struggling with Booger, he can't lift Yokozuna.
Bastion Booger ate a few extra tacos today. I don't know if he can get him up or not.
Then he come out, he had like the grease, and he'd like just, this poor guy gets to be called Booger.
Also, shout out to my grandpa who would send me up the antenna when the wind's blowing. We're about to have a tornado, so that we could see the TV better, and risking his grandson's life to get struck by lightning. But we got to be able to see Bonanza, so turn that damn antenna.
Yeah, you got to see.
That was always good too.
Well, Palmer, tell us what y'all got coming up on September 9th.
September 9th. You mean 16th?
16th, excuse me.
There we go.
September 9th. September 16th, we have that's the last Action Hero that we had on the 9th. That was a pretty fun show. On the 16th, we have Homecoming. It's homecoming season for everyone
Sorry
in
about
Texas.
that.
You know, big football fans in Texas, and homecoming's a big part of it. So we're theming our show on homecoming. We're going to have a king and queen homecoming match. I won't tell you any further, but we've been doing some vignettes and videos very much set in like a high school atmosphere. We have a bunch of 30-year-old teenagers, and so we've been doing that, and they're fighting over. I'm going to be homecoming queen. I'm king. We've been doing like detention videos, like basically they're doing breakfast club.
As a teacher, I'm going to have to tune in to see this. This will
Dude,
be good.
it's been a blast to the point where like I have half a mind to do it as an annual show. And there it is. There it is. They got Machko, Sandy, Morgan Mercy, Erica Torres, and Killa Kate trying for Homecoming Queen. You got Kane Carter, Mikey B, Shimbashi, Tommy Prince, and Caleb Riley trying to be Homecoming King.
I love the artwork on that.
King and Queen. No titles on the line.
That's awesome artwork on that promo.
Thank you. Like we have everything that we do at MPX is done in-house. We have a very family atmosphere as far as like the tech and crew. I couldn't tell you any show in the country that has such a tight-knit group of people that just want to put on quality wrestling every week. And it's not even the wrestlers. It's the volunteers outside. It's the people that do concessions. It's the merchandise. It's Nick Caldwell, who makes our graphics and our flyers, who's also a referee and slowly becoming a bigger part of the show. It's just like everyone that is involved with MPX contributes to MPX in ways that immeasurable in my eyes. As a small business owner trying to like shift from wrestling to promoting, I don't know how I would be able to do it without the quality help of people like Nick Caldwell and Taryn Muse and Heather McClendon and Rusty McClendon, these wonderful people that help with MPX every single week.
Shout out to the person who made that promo artwork, because that is, I mean, honestly, we have a lot of independent wrestling promotions on here. And also, you know, being where I live here in Huntington, West Virginia, we have a lot of independent wrestling promotions come through. And I see a lot of these types of, you know, promo artwork. And I have not seen one that good. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
We're trying one up from the 9th. I mean, did she? I think she's already removed them from the feed.
Oh, you don't. Okay. Yeah, it was based on the last Action Hero.
The one we were a week late on, I thought was incredible. I mean, that was. If I was on that show, I'd want one of those posters as a souvenir.
Oh, hell yeah, dude! Like, thank you so much. It's like Nick Caldwell. Referee Nick Caldwell, he has a I want to say it's Conspiracy Creations is the name of the company. I work directly through him, but he has Conspiracy Creations. If you want to find him on any of the MPX socials, if you want to check him out, you can find him on there. He does all of this. He does everything. It's fantastic. And he's a pretty good referee, Dave. If you ever need somebody to back you up if you actually get hit.
Well, sometimes Dave doesn't see the cheating.
The other night.
What's that?
I was the only referee the other night.
You're still doing those marathons? You got to stop that, dude. Just throw your shirt on a wrestler that looks like my size.
I'm there, and I'll tell the promoter I'll do them all because just give me twice the money.
Yeah, he's greedy. If he's making that trip, he wants the money.
I love being in the ring.
Yeah. Well, I get it.
I absolutely still love being in the ring. I still get butterflies before I go through the curtains. And you want to hear something crazy? I get bigger butterflies going out in front of 300 or 400 people than I do going out in front of than going out in front of thousands.
I get that. When I work for Revolver, we're always in front of a lot of people, right? And I get to go out and I'm doing the shtick. It's a lot of fun. I'm feeling the energy. I'm giving it back. It's fantastic. But when I'm one of those more intimate places that only holds like 300 people, and it packed out, but it only holds 300 people, dude, I feel like this crazy rush. I don't know what it is. It's that intimate atmosphere where like you just know that there's less eyes on you, but you have their undivided attention. And it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Sometimes I get in there and I'll get a little gassed in the ring just because like the adrenaline's pumping a little too hard. It's like, whew, damn. then there's a few thousand people in the crowd. And I'm like, all right, boys, we're doing great. Let's go ahead and get a little work steez in here.
The only thing that feels better than that rush before you go through the curtain is when you've been part of something in the ring that's so special that you're on a high that you won't, and you can't sleep when you get home. I mean, you're not going to get tired in the car, and you're riding that wave, and it's hard to go to bed that night because, just for instance, I refereed Larry D versus Angel Camacho.
Yeah,
and man, you wouldn't have thought from when you went out there that was going to be what it ended up being, but I knew when we got out of the ring that was something special that night.
Mm-hmm. And those are those moments like you're in the ring, you get the 3 counts, you're almost to the curtain, and you're just sitting there going like, damn, I wish I could have gone another 10 minutes with this. You know what I mean? I wish, and you can't, because you can't milk it forever, otherwise it goes down in quality. But you're just sitting there going, damn, I got to go and do a regular job on Monday, or I got to go wrestle this crap show on the next day on Sunday, whatever it is. It's just like that feeling. If you could bottle it and sell it, God,
when wrestling is right, there's nothing better.
Dude, when wrestling is done right, when it's true quality wrestling, and I'm saying this as a person who does a lot of shtick and character stuff, but when it's true quality wrestling, guys in there doing true graps, it's unmatched. It's unmatched. When you get something like an Iron Man match between Eddie Edwards and Biff Busick. I watched that in Boston, I want to say 10 years ago. Still to this day, the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. 60 minutes. I was just sitting in the crowd watching them, and the feeling of just being a worker that got to see other workers accomplish this in front of however many people were there, and just the feeling that they had, I didn't want to cry, but there was just an overwhelming sense of emotion of just watching guys just go out there and organically, no pre-planned, nothing, organically have a 60-minute match that was never dull, never slowed down. And I mean slow down as in like we locked in a figure 4 for 10 minutes. It was just wonderful. I've had a few experiences like that with ACH. You talk about Larry D. I actually dropped the Revolver title to Larry D years ago. And I remember having this match with him to where I was a heel who kind of turned face because of health reasons that got out, and I told people, and so de facto babyface turn, or default babyface turn. And I worked a body slam on Larry D. Little old me got a body slam, and people lost their minds on a body slam where they're yelling, "Pin him! Pin him!" And I was like, and I go over and I was like, this is incredible. Like, I'm barely giving, like, usually I gotta murder myself out here to get, you know what I mean? And then you capture those moments like that, and it's like, why can't wrestling be like this every single time? You know why it can't be like that every single time, but
Matt, earlier you were talking about your show Homecoming, September 16th in Bedford, Texas, of course. And you said, it is the perfect timing because people in Texas are going, having homecoming here. And actually, Teppy, our producer, Dave's beloved wife, was sewing or tightening up a homecoming dress as we speak, as we came on here tonight for her granddaughter. So,
dude, you got on the flyer, you got Brick Savage versus Matlock. Brick Savage is a legitimate championship level weightlifter, strongman. Matlock is one of those young wrestlers. I've been working with him for 5 years now. He's nuts. He's just completely nuts. Dave, you've run across these guys that just want to go out there and kill themselves for every wrestling match and just beat the tar out of each other. And you're just like, you only have 5 minutes. It's just like, no, let's go do this and this and this. And I was like, you don't have to. I was like, but I'm gonna. I was like, all right. So
That's him, man.
Yeah, watching these two, I'm probably going to have a couple of EMTs backstage just in case, because I saw Brick Savage damn near throw a guy through a wall a few weeks ago. I guess he thought it had a lot more studs, or he just didn't care. He had more studs in that drywall than he thought. He chucked that dude like nothing. That guy had to be 190, 200 pounds, and like nothing. Just threw him over his head, just clean out.
He looks like a complete beast, man. Just looking at it. I mean, man.
Nuts. They're insane. They are just one of the strongest people. Like Athena, sorry. I know her by her real name. Athena, she saw them for the first time and it's like, that's like a modern day Mr. T.
Yeah.
Like they came out of the curtain, earring, hair slicked back, got a little bit of the eyeliner on it. And I was like, it's like if Prince and Mr. T came out and just started effing people up. And then Matlock, of course, is just throwing his body through anyone and anything. That dude one time tried to well, I came into the building and he's stapling barbed wire to a table. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes like, yeah, we're going to do this tonight. And I was like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not.
My insurance doesn't cover that.
And I was like, you can't, like, you're wrestling the boy band Behemoth. You know what I mean? The guy you're wrestling is doing kind of like a jokey, in sync kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of fun thing.
This isn't Cactus Jack.
It's not Cactus Jack, bro. It's just like, it's like if Mick Foley has to wrestle B. Brian Blair and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go put him through the cage. No, man, he's nuts, dude. He's nuts.
Well, I'll say this: he looks a lot tougher than the Matlock I know. And,
you got a lot of them. Is it?
Well,
Andy Griffith?
I mean, yeah, Andy Griffith. That's the only one I know. Matlock.
You and me, Justin, we're gonna be great friends because every time I see him, I do the old Abe Simpson, Matlock, and they just stare at me like I'm an idiot because they have no idea what I'm talking about. Damn kids.
Yeah.
And the tag team championship.
Yeah, dude. Jet Black and Dylan Cavins, the tag champions. They just became tag champions a few weeks ago, and I gotta tell you, Cavins is probably 5'2". 5'3", one of the fastest guys I've ever seen. Instantly beloved. And I guess you have to be when you're about 5'2" in the wrestling business and you're surviving. You're actually doing well. You know what I mean? Usually you get the small guy and nobody wants to tell him, was like, hey man, come on. You know what I mean? You're 80 pounds overweight. You're 5'2". You look like Stone Cold Steve Austin if you got caught drunk driving. You know what I mean? It's just, you look ridiculous. This dude shredded, knows his way around a ring, knows his way around a fight. He's got pretty good hands, wrestled with him a little bit, and he has it. Whatever it is that fans look at a person and be like, that's my favorite wrestler, he's got it. Jet Black came into the MPX, I would say less than a year ago, same thing. He showed a little bit of athleticism, showed a lot of flair, but more than that, he showed personality. People loved him. Muerto Inferno really coming into his own right now. He's still working, getting a lot of the bugs out because I think he got sick a few weeks ago, but he's coming back, or a couple months ago. He's coming back stronger than ever. Carlos Diaz, he's been working with Lance Romance. Dave, I know you know Lance. He's been working with Lance Romance, and his heel work is phenomenal, man. It's like only people in the business really understand the pacing aspect of it and like the quality heel work. That's not just chewing a guy up or just kicking and punching and just choking a guy on the ropes, and having an actual flair and character and getting heat and letting shining guys up. He's getting it, man. He's getting it. And one day you guys are probably going to be seeing him traveling around everywhere. All these guys.
I hope so. I mean,
yeah,
these guys, it looked exciting. It looks like it'll be a fun match, exciting match for sure.
Kaimi here. Kaimi came from Tyler Breeze's school. He joined Athena and I would say about 4 months ago. He's coming into his own. He's one of those guys that he walks in, he's like 20. He walks in, he's tall, he's got a great shape, pretty smile, can talk well, is not shy at all. Don't expect him to be on the indies very long. You know what I mean? That guy is great. Red Chambers, been working with him for years. Lovely person. Sky de Lacrimosa. Dave, I know you know Sky.
Yes.
Used to be Sky Rider. He's our I don't want to say deathmatch guy because he's not typecast in that role, but like his character is a cannibal. A cannibal murderer, and he's one of the most beloved guys on the roster. We're like, how the hell do I book this guy? Just like Demo Diamond. He was trained by Lamont William or Lou Sterrett is the word
over VIP.
VIP and DFW All Pro. He's about 6'3", 6'4". He's got to put on a little bit of mass, and he's another guy that's I don't think you're going to see on the indies very long. These guys, these young kids in Texas that come through MPX, I'm telling you, when Athena's done training with them, they put on a little bit of size and they actually travel around, they know how to call matches, they know how to put on quality fights. These guys, they're not going to be here very long. Keep an eye out for them. And, of course, the money match, baby. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for these two matches. Between all the high school vignettes that we've been doing, between the Breakfast Club references, it's like, you guys are in tension. It's just training.
Is it this is an elimination match, or is it?
I am not going to tell you.
It's a surprise.
No, it's not. It's not elimination.
Oh.
It's first fall to a finish.
Okay.
Elimination matches are fun at times. I like to save elimination matches for like titles. Usually simply because when you have the champion who doesn't lose the belt, but he didn't get pinned kind of thing. Right. It's okay. But when you're running a weekly product on an indie level, you may run the risk of not being able to get that champion or the former champion back in time for the rematch, which you have to have, right? And so I usually save those eliminations for title matches so the champion gets pinned at least, just because independent contractors at this level, it's difficult. And you can't be like, oh, man, I can't ever book you again because you're a journeyman wrestler when you're a journeyman wrestler yourself.
Yeah.
So that's why we do the first pinfall or first submission is the winner.
Who's this Tommy Prince? He looks like a gimmick.
Tommy Prince is the children of the Scorn or the Scorn. And I've been joking with them. It's like, you guys, it's Scorny time. You guys want to get Scorny? I was like, are you referencing just weed? Are you just saying like you want to get high? It's like, no, man, it's the Scorn. It's this and this. You're high, aren't you? It's like, all right, I smoked a little. he's our resident weed smoker. He and his brother Gabe Wilder. These guys, they're my student trainers. Athena and I, student trainers, we use them to work with the new people, getting them their 5 basic holds and bumps and things like that. He's a sweetheart of a guy. He's a black belt martial artist. I don't remember what martial arts because they're all tougher than me. But he is one of those guys that is just nothing but muscle and sinew. You know what I mean? He's just shredded. He looks like Bruce Lee under all the jackets, right? And he's got one of the stiffest kicks I've ever felt in my life. That dude split me open with a knee on my thigh. Just like 3-inch gash, just boom, just gushing blood from a kick that he just kind of like barely touched. And I was like, you need to wear kick pads. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Caleb Riley here, he is actually one of our students. He's had, I want to say, less than 20 matches. He's come into his own. He's one of those guys. It's like he's an amateur wrestler, so he's really good at wrestling. We're trying to bring the character out of him, but he's a lovely person. He's slowly getting it. Kane Carter, he's killing it. He's a few years in the business. Mikey B, that's the boy band behemoth right there. That he and Sammy B, they're a married couple in real life, and they're also a couple on the show. They have a certain flair about them to where, yes, you hate Mikey. You can look at him and you hate him, but you look at Sammy B and you can't help but love this Hallmark princess. You know what I mean? Like, if there ever was a time for somebody's car to break down in a small town and become a Christmas movie, it would totally be Sammy B right there. She is just wonderful.
That's Liz and Macho.
Exactly.
That's what was going through my head too, Dave.
And they're not even doing it on purpose. They're not even trying to do that on purpose. It's just the way that he came out. So he becomes the boy band behemoth. He's been doing wonderful in the ring. Shimbashi, He came out of Houston Carson School in, I think it's Corpus Christi or just south of San Antonio. I can't remember. I think it's Corpus. He has been in the business for a handful of years now. That's the guy that when he comes out to the ring, all the girls in the front row just start shrieking his name. And I was like, oh, well, that's the pretty boy right there. That's the one that they love, man. Anytime I bring him out, you hear nothing but girls go like, Shimbashi! Losing their shit, dude. They love it. They love him. Yeah, man, that's going to be a hell of a show Saturday.
And then you have some training coming up.
Yes.
On top
September
of the excellent
30th.
training you're already providing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, on top of Athena and myself training every 3 times a week, we bring in seminars about once a month. We had Devon Dudley come in this last month, and now we're having Alex Shelley come in. I'm not a big fan of guys coming in doing seminars and they're Joe Blow. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're a good wrestler, but have you made any money? And so Alex Shelley here, the King of the Independents, the Impact Champion, the Revolver Remix Champion, one of the best seminars I've ever seen. And it's not one of those seminars where you go in there and they blow you up and they take your money and they give you a little bit of advice and that's it. It's tried and true business seminar. A lot of these guys, they want to go in and it's like, oh, show me this move and this spot, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not just that. He actually explains to a wrestler how to entertain from a wrestler aspect without ruining the business, without any of that contact crap. He actually explains things to you in a way that I couldn't. You know what I mean? Like there's levels to this stuff, and he's experienced all of it. It's phenomenal. $75 entrance fee is nothing. Honestly, it's nothing with the knowledge you're about to get.
He's been around for 20 years.
Dude, one of the first independent matches I ever watched when I was in training and I didn't know too much about independent wrestling, I watched him and Brian Kendrick have a match where essentially they just kept the chain for about 15 minutes, and that was it. They just chain wrestled in the most beautiful grappling I've ever seen. No strikes, very few throws. It was just your babyface chain wrestling kind of match, which you would think, okay, this can get boring. You're stretching this out too long. Not once, man. It was so beautiful. It was like watching a dance between guys trying to rip each other's arms off. It was great.
All right. Well, I sure do thank you.
Well, thank you, man.
I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. I've enjoyed catching up with you. Next time I'm in Dallas, I'm going to need to come see you.
Please do, man. Doors always open for you.
It's been way too long, but when I'm there, I'm trying to. In fact, one of my daughters is watching now, Sarah.
Oh, hey, Sarah.
Sarah's out
Sarah.
there. You were talking when Stephanie threw that up that
she was the sexy nurse with the medics.
Yes,
I remember. I like Sarah. Good people there.
And but I've only got so much time when I'm there on the weekend to try to see her, and she's way out and she's way out near Roy City, and my other daughter's in Flower Mound. And
well, if you show up, dude, bring your ref shirt. You're working
for free too.
Yeah, because I don't pay people.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, the house was light, brother. Sorry, we didn't make any money.
But no, seriously, I've been wanting to see I've been wanting to get out there and see the. It's not so new anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, dude, you're
I
open
love what y'all are
whenever
doing
you
out
want.
there, and y'all do it weekly. Tell everybody where they can find you, and tell everybody where they can watch MPX. You can watch MPX at twitch.tv/Metroplex Wrestling. You don't even have to be a subscriber. Just follow. Come support these guys tearing it up. You're going to be the future of wrestling. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter. On Instagram, it is the Pro Wrestling Monster Hunter with underscore in between each word. Pro Wrestling Monster Hunter underscore in between each word. The other one is PW Monster Hunter on Twitter.
I also have a Facebook, but I kind of just ramble on there and make snide remarks and sarcastic remarks. You don't need to follow that one. That's mostly for my parents. Find me on Twitter, PW Monster Hunter, Instagram, Pro Wrestling Monster Hunter with the underscore in between each word. My wife and I also have a Twitch account that we stream from. That's just us chatting or playing games. It is twitch.tv/halfdragonap. Half Dragon AP, like Athena Palmer.
All right.
There you go. Y'all check them out.
Oh, there's that beautiful lady.
And you can check her out on Ring of Honor every week.
Gorgeous. Best women's wrestler in the world right there.
Talent on loan from God himself.
Doesn't have anyone's last name to get over there. That's just pure freaking talent. Ah, gorgeous.
You better get off here and let put somebody over here. After
15 years later, still.
Yeah, you did. Y'all both did good though. But anyway, thank you for joining us tonight, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I love you, and tell Athena I love her too.
Will do. Love you, brother. Take care, man.
Thank you. Justin, take us out.
All right. Well, for the Monster Hunter, Matthew Palmer, for Pondwater Dave, I am Justin Davis saying please take care of yourself and each other. So long, everyone.